So, Sean Jepson works during the day. Dana Jepson is a teacher, so he works during the day. Brent Jepson is a police officer, so I'm going to see about calling him now. Uh, oh my god.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 30 available. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Well, so much for Bunt. That's his nickname. I guess I'll send him a text message. Oh god. What a pain in the ass. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. On the bright side, Brent is a decent excuse for a human being. He's a pretty alright guy. I've known him since he was friggin' tiny. I met his older brother Sean when he was 9. I was 15. Sean was in Jamie Curtis's class in high school. Bunt usually lived with his mom, and Sean usually lived with his dad, but they were pretty decent about, sharing the children. So, I got to see Brent a lot. Being down at the shop as often as I was, I got to see all of them a lot. It was pretty cool. When Sean started cutting trees with his grampy, that was a pretty decent experience too. Although there was a 113-degree day in Big Springs, and Sean punched me in the back of the head a couple of times. It was hot though, our brains were boiling, and the first thing we did, obviously being tree cutters, the first thing we did was cut down our shade. So, I don't remember the exact street name, but it was in Big Springs, and I remember what the house looked like. I remember there was a driveway, and their garage was actually underground. The driveway was a sloped driveway, and it was over on the west end of town. We also took out some lilac bushes over there. We went to the park for lunch, and that's when Sean punched me in the back of the head. I don't even remember what he punched me for. I mean, I remember I was joking around with Brent, and the next thing I feel is my head shift. I don't really feel pain on my head like you might experience. I realize that something has happened because there's a shift in my vision. The reason there's a shift in my vision is because my head does this. So that's usually my first indicator that I got hit. Now, the other Jepson family, Brandon Jepson, his sister was, her name is Kim. She was the first friend I ever knew I was going to get to keep. They had an older brother named Mike who was actually out of high school by the time I got there. He might have been in his senior year, but we didn't have any classes together. But Brandon, one day I opened up the refrigerator while we were living over at Levant's Apartments. That's now owned by Stephanie and Stacy Hanway. But I remember I opened the door and I hit myself in the head with the door, and I was so surprised that I actually felt it. A lot of that is from the abuse, the physical abuse I endured as a kid. I didn't really have any feeling in my head most of my early life. In my adult life, I don't have much feeling in my head. Internally, I get headaches, pressure headaches, like if I'm screaming a bunch. So that doesn't happen very often. That screaming argument that me and my dad had, that one right there resulted in a severe headache. I mean, whew. But the Jepsons, they've always been family. Both sides. To this day, even Brandon, I consider him family. I consider little Jason family. And little Jason, he's the one that was having the major methamphetamine issues. His wife left him. She's now with my bully from Lodgepole High School. When I first went to Chappell, Nebraska, my older brother Eric had gotten kicked out of Chappell High School already, and my little sister had gotten kicked out of Chappell High School. So I started off in Lodgepole High School. Well, there was a lady named Rihanna Ingersoll, and her mom was married to my old boss, Doug Cowden. But before he was my boss, because I was in high school at the time, her mom, Regina Cowden, gave us a ride to school, me and my little sister. But she's a man-hater, at least she was at the time, and I really wasn't down with her blaming everything on me. I mean, she was literally blaming me for... I just met this woman. That was my first ride there. So after that, I started walking to school every day. The distance between Chappell, Nebraska and Lodgepole, Nebraska is 9 miles. So I had to start off pretty early in order to make it to school. And I walked to school so I wouldn't get there all stinky. And then I jogged back. A human walks about 15 miles, or about a mile every 15 minutes. Most Americans can actually walk a mile faster than they can run it. That's how unhealthy we are. Isn't that odd? It's because you start off at a fast pace and then you get tuckered out too easily and then you're just trudging along. Rihanna lives here in Cheyenne. I don't have her number. I gotta wait for my Facebook to become unblocked so I can possibly get back in contact with her. I don't know. I should probably check my phone just to make sure, because it's a 307 number. So I can probably type in 307 and see. Looks like... Oh god, that isn't going to work. Well... I don't know. Anyway, my bully from high school was Dylan Bauer, and little Jason's ex-wife is with him now. He's actually the only bully in Lodgepole High School to ever apologize for it. When I was out looking for my phone, he actually stopped. He stopped to talk to me, wanted to know what I was doing. He offered to help a bit, but by that time my phone was dead. It was a pretty shitty situation. That phone has a lot of evidence on it I can't get back. It's got evidence of the cruelty from Lana and Amanda. It's got evidence of the cruelty from Miss Jerry. It's got evidence of that Missy Layla Johnson lady. I guess it's called catfishing. She was wanting to have phone sex, and I was explaining to her I wasn't really into that. It's got a lot of evidence. I mean, I had to deal with a lot of crazy wingnuts because the police didn't want to do their jobs. It was obvious to anybody that I was trying to explain what was going on. They didn't care, though. They wanted to put me on a mental health hold. That's all they were interested in. The problem is that at that point in time, I was still trying to help out the detectives in Natalie's case to get them the information that they'd asked for. And it had been days since I'd been able to do any of that. And I'm begging for help. I need a place to process. And I haven't had a place to process since. people keep trying to shove medications on me. What I need to do is talk to these professional type folks, and I'm hoping they'll be able to help, but at this point it's pretty difficult. I'm trying to have a positive attitude. I'm hoping I can get a hold of Rihanna and maybe she'll be able to help out a little bit. I don't know that she'll be able to. I know that her husband, when I drove up here last time, it cost $100 and something altogether, and she said that it'd be alright if I came up here and stayed with him. And about the time that I almost was at Cheyenne, her husband decided differently, so there's that situation. Lexi Woods, she's the lady I got the tattoo equipment from. Joanna Taylor paid for it, her and Derek, and that was while I was in Virginia, of course. So the night that I went and was going to try to kill myself and ended up threatening the president and lighting a fire instead, Lexi had actually said I could go to her place. But her boyfriend, who beat the fuck out of her like a week earlier, said no. She wanted my help with her case to testify back in February of this year. Obviously, I was not able to do that. So I guess that's my rant for right now.